Hello, world. Yes, it is John Pinto, your roving realtor, bon vivant, video blogger, podcaster, home chef, and I am here in Santa Rosa with Mark Anderson, Hefty Homes. Is that the name of your company, Mark?
That's correct, John.
Very good. And you guys deal in SCIP construction, structural concrete insulated panels.
That's correct. We build fire-safe homes, 4-hour fire-safe homes.
4-hour fire safe home. So I'm going to back up a little bit so we could take a little bit a look at that roof. Can you explain what kind of a roof you have on there?
Yeah, so it's a standing seam roof. It's a metal roof that basically is a 1-hour fire rating, and then underneath the roof system we have 3 inches of concrete and then 4 inches of polystyrene, and of course the interior is 3 inches of concrete also. So it's a fully encapsulated thermal sandwich. For the
Okay,
roof
good.
system.
And I could see that you certainly have the distancing in terms of the fire block. I would imagine that that is going to remain. You're not going to be planting a lot of shrubbery around that could catch the house fire. So we're mostly concerned about flying embers with this structure, correct?
That's correct. So when we first started on the project for the client here, the property was covered with trees, of course, that had been charred by the fires. And so the first thing that we did was creating defendable space. And so we cleared the lower part of the property, creating at least a 200-foot perimeter of defendable space with no combustible materials. Then we started the construction of the Hefty home, starting at the subgrade foundations and working our way to the roof system.
Very good, very good. And tell us a little bit about those solar panels.
Yeah, so the solar panels are, the house is a 4-hour fire-safe structure, and it is technically between 15 to 20% generates more energy, 15 to 20% more than it consumes because of the thermal properties of the envelope. So it's a carbon negative house. So
it's like having a screen room with tile floors.
yeah, so there's a passive solar gain because of the thermal properties of the exterior walls. So the concrete absorbs the sun, the passive solar sun, and helps with the heating and cooling of the house. It keeps the house cool in the summer times, keeps it warm in the winters.
Okay, and what do you call that roof on top of there?
So it's a standing seam metal roof, and that is over the SCIP sandwich system, basically the 3D panels.
Okay, and I'm going to imagine a roof like that has got quite a warranty on it.
Yes, yeah. So basically, there's the manufacturer's warranty, and then all Hefty home products have a 2 years general contractor's warranty.
Right, that's the workmanship warranty. On the materials warranty, is that a 25-year roof, 30-year roof, 35-year roof?
So yeah, the metal roofing is a 30-year roof system.
Yeah, and it's probably going to last at least that long.
Yeah, because there's no expansion contraction like a
Right.
conventional house, they're anchored into the concrete slab with Tapcon screws. So we won't have any thermodynamics expansion contraction. So literally, the owner could probably just repaint the roof, probably never have to replace it.
Right, right. And
30, 40, 50 years
right,
down the
and
road.
you probably advise the same thing I advise to my clients: don't have people walking on the roof.
Yeah, well, it's structurally sound. You can walk up
It's
there.
not
you
gonna
can
be an
do
issue.
anything. There's no issue.
Okay, so let's take a look at the exterior. Is that a stucco exterior?
Yes. So this is a stucco finish. So this is the elastomeric stucco, and there's
So Elastomeric is going to have properties to keep the stucco impermeable against
excuse me.
moisture.
It's acrylic. It's acrylic stucco. So
Okay.
we have 2 layers of acrylic stucco on here for waterproofing and for the beautiful finishes that we have. It's a fine, smooth finish.
Oh, good. Is this likely to expand and contract less than the stucco you see used in conventional wood frame houses?
Yeah, so typically you don't get expansion contraction from the concrete. You know, what you get is in conventional construction with wood and plastics and with glues, you get expansion contraction. This here envelope, because you have the stucco, which is the stucco, the cement, the polystyrene, and then the shotcrete, they're all cohesive. So they expand and contract at the same rate. So compared to wood that expands and contracts at a quicker rate, and then cement and plaster at a different rate.
So you'll have less cosmetic issues on this finish.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, let's go in through the front door. If the front door is unlocked.
Yeah. So this is a 1 hour commercial fire safe door. So typically in residential houses, you get a 20-minute fireproof door, but we went with a commercial steel door to create a more armored exterior envelope.
Very good. And I am liking this floor very much. Can you explain what we are dealing with this floor?
Yeah, so this is a hydronic floor system that we did a sandstone, a custom sandstone finish. We did acid etching and staining with natural pigments and basically over the hydronic floor heating system. So the client can adjust, everyone knows the benefit of hydronic floors. They're energy efficient. They're also very conducive for the environment for inside your homes.
So did you say you did an acid stain on that?
Yeah, so there's natural pigments, and then we did muriatic acid to open up the capillaries, so that way you would get really good adhesion for our stains.
And is there a certain finish on this, completely flat versus?
Yeah, we have a matte. There's a matte sealer on it. It's a low VOC, a low VOC sealer to basically seal up the concrete after we've done all the natural pigments.
Very good. Well, let's take a look at the kitchen. We have the entire house is made with this concrete floor.
Yes, yeah. The entire house is a hydronic floor heated system, and this here is the beautiful kitchen with, of course, all of the amenities.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna just ask you one question on a hydronic floor. Do we have hot water pipes running through the concrete floor?
Yes, there is. Yeah, there's PEX tubing that runs in 3 different zones. One for the main primary residence area, and then of course the 2 bedrooms and bathrooms are separated in the heating zone so they can be adjusted.
So I'm going to think you're going to have a lot less dust flying around with that kind of a heating system.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and is it PEX? Is that the plumbing that you have underneath there?
Yeah. PEX tubing is Apex PEX tubing is typically used now. Copper has gotten to be very expensive, and then there's also the lifespan compared to the new modified systems.
So let's harken back to all the Eichlers in Palo Alto, where they have the hot water heat in the concrete floors. And when I'm going to think that those were probably galvanized pipes 60 years ago when they were built, or 70 years ago when they were built. And then when those pipes give up, they get the pinholes in them. Most people just put in the space heaters in 5 or 6 different rooms. I'm going to guess that the PEX probably has a pretty good life to it.
Yeah, I believe, as you know, John, most plastics are hard to get rid of. So I imagine between the 150 to 200 year life cycle of the whole structure, the flooring will be in solid state and functioning capacity. Over the time, you might need to swap out the hot water heater and the mechanical upgrades in the next 150 year lifespan of the structure. But certainly compared to a 30-year lifespan of a conventional house, there'll be a lot less maintenance and upkeep with anything.
Beautiful. And is it zone heating, or do you turn it on or off for the entire 640 square foot ADU?
Yeah, so you can do either way. The 3 zones are climate adjusted, so you can adjust them. So if you want the master bedroom to be at a warmer temperature, and you want the secondary bedroom to be in a cooler temperature, and of course the main living area here, so they're all adjustable by thermostat.
Okay, sounds nice. Sounds cozy on your toes.
Yeah, nice and warm. Walk around bare feet, and in the wintertime, and don't get chilled.
Very good. Let's talk about the countertops.
Yeah, so these are Corian countertops, basically, with the nice under-mounted sink here, beautiful faucets, and
The Corian countertops are very hygienic because unlike marble, if you have like chicken blood or red wine, they're porous. These you can pretty much wipe up and you don't have an issue, right?
That's correct. Yeah, these are very low maintenance.
Good. And you probably do want to use trivets on here? You don't want to put hot pans right on top of the Corian?
That is correct.
Okay. Very good. And I do like that sink. Could you tell us a little bit more about the installation and why you chose to use stainless?
Yeah, so basically, what was the client's preference, and of course she liked that, coming from where she grew up, and of course having this undermounted sink gives it a really nice surface where you can just sweep and clean any of your food prep into it. Garbage disposal, of course, for your preference for clean up any of your veggies and that kind of thing.
And I am going to suggest to the owner that she check the name of that sink, which looks like Ravati, and pick up one of those grill grates for the bottom
Yeah,
so it doesn't get scratched. They probably have them in their catalog, right?
I'd imagine, yes.
Okay. And then we have an ADU sized dishwasher.
Yeah, that's correct. We have this is a beautiful little apartment style, accessory dwelling unit style dishwasher. And being a single person living here with herself and visiting with her daughter, of course she doesn't need a full-sized kitchen and of course all the other amenities. Most people that are cooking, preparing food by themselves, they make one meal, clean up after themselves. So it's a nice, neat area.
Good. So, Mark, I am afraid that I am going to go down the induction rabbit hole now. The induction rabbit hole. I just looked at this and saw induction. That is a very fancy pants cooking system. Now, did you put the induction system in because you're such a smart guy, or did the homeowner ask for it?
Well, both actually. No, so basically I found a good local provider here that deals with appliances, and they are very good, really tailored and very knowledgeable about their products. Their customer service is really outstanding compared to big box chains and those kind of things. So once I had an established relationship with the gentleman, I made the recommendation for her to go down there, do a walkthrough, and she went through and handpicked, and he educated her on different systems and different appliances that would fit her needs.
And she is a former restaurateur, so she would know.
Yes, yeah, she grew up in the restaurant, yeah.
Yes. May I see what the oven looks like? Very good. Oh, and there's a convection action in there.
Yeah.
All righty. Convection action. That's a big fan they got in there. Excellent. Fantastic. And then we have the shaker cabinets. What kind of material is the shaker cabinet?
Yeah, these are all pine cabinets that are painted with a semi-gloss paint and nicely constructed. We got these from a local provider also that basically has these brought in, and nice place down here in Roner Park area. He provided the design and the layout of the cabinet. After one or two evolutions of the layout of everything, we selected this part here and had them delivered.
And I see you have, of course, double pane windows. Now, which double pane window vendor did you decide to use?
Yeah, so after, because we wanted to harden the structure to create a truly fire-safe structure, fire glass that is, approved for multiple hours that will stand up to the heat, those go into the range of $450 to $500 a square foot. So because that wasn't in the client's budget, we basically went through the due diligence and evolution of finding what is the best manufacturer for the best price that is going to be able to withstand the firestorms if you reduce all the fuel around here. And so what we did is these are Wi-Fi, they're wildland interface windows, so they are approved for the wildland interface area. But because we did reduce and create the defendable space around the surrounding of the structure, and of course the house envelope is not built out of fuel like a conventional house, it's built out of
fuel being wood.
Wood, correct, yes. Yeah, non-combustible materials.
Yes.
So a lot of people had issues with their concrete. When I say, oh, we built this 4-hour fire-safe house, a lot of people have issues with that. They're like, oh, well, we had foundations that we had to rip out. The thing, because of the fires came through and there was issues with the degradation of the foundations on, with a conventional house on top of it when the fires came through. So what we did is I attended several different engineering classes about how to qualify and how and really dig into what failed in the foundations. And what we found after going to these seminars is that because you have fuel, the wood framed houses on top of this, you have all this fuel source, which of course creates the fuel to burn for 2,000-3,000 degrees for multiple hours. When the concrete on a typical foundation, you have a 5.5 sack concrete mix, so it's a very low cement ratio to rock, and so it's that's economical. But the bad part of that is that it's porous, and so it has the ability to have water inside the foundation. So when the fires came through, caught the houses on fire, that fire basically was intense heat. It evacuated all the moisture that was in the foundation walls. So see, our concrete is a highly modified cement, and it's impervious, so there's no moisture that can ever get into our concrete walls, so that way there's no spalling. So what happens is the fires come through, it heats up the moisture inside the concrete, typically on a conventional foundation, and then basically then you have that evacuation, and that water leaving the concrete at an exponential rate is what creates the fractures and spalling of a foundation slab or any concrete. So our concrete has been modified, and it is very dense cement and concrete mixtures that basically make it so it's impervious and it doesn't have that ability to degrade.
By the way, while we're talking about concrete, is this on a concrete perimeter foundation or on a slab?
This is all, the foundation is a step foundation that we have built entirely out of SCIP. So instead of doing a conventional foundation system where you'd form it up with plywood and then pour it, and what we did is we poured a step foundation, and then we just balloon framed our walls with SCIP structures.
Structural concrete insulated panels.
Yes, yeah.
And just remind us again, how many layers are in a structural concrete insulated panel?
So what you have with the SCIP panel, the 3D SCIP panel, it's a three-dimensional panel. You have 4 inches of recycled polystyrene core, and then you have 3 inches of shotcrete of a 4,000 psi, 4 to 5,000 psi shotcrete mix, and then you have approximately 1 inch of plaster on the outsides also. So you have approximately 4 inches on the outside and the inside, encapsulating this 4 inches of foam. So you have a 10 to 12 inch net thick wall.
Good, and that sounds very structurally sound, very good on insulation.
Yeah, so the thermal properties were well over the R45 value, which is well surpassed any of the conventional construction techniques. The whole definition of Hefty Homes and our mission is to create hurricane, earthquake, fire, tornado safe houses for your family's safety.
Very good. All right, so I noticed that there is a vaulted ceiling up here.
Yeah, so the roof system is built out of the SCIP panels also, and so when we constructed the walls and the roof system, we shotcreted the outside and inside of the house in its entirety, encapsulating all the foam, so therefore you can't get any heat to the foam. The foam also, the EPS is it has a fire retardant in it, so it's self-extinguishing. So if you were to hit it with a torch or catch it on fire, it just puts itself out.
Okay, and certainly is going to work a little bit better on runoff.
Yes, absolutely.
Good. Let's take a look at this patio, especially while we don't have gale winds. And I think I will take advantage of, well, first of all, I notice you have put in what appears to be acrylic panels over here.
Yeah, so these are it's safety glass, and this is a Feeney handrail system. And so, of course, when the client purchased the property in the 70s, this whole property was covered in trees. You can see the forest behind us here that resembled all of these, and you can see the stumps that had came right up to this area. After the fires had come and scorched the area, the first thing we had did, as I mentioned previously, was that we took down all these trees to create some defendable space for the client. And that was the first task that we had. So then at this point, because the trees are gone and the windbreaks are all gone, now it gets to be sometimes in the evenings that we get some pretty good sun up here, and or some sun and wind coming off the coast, and so it can get pretty windy up here, 30-40 mile an hour gusts. So because she'd like to enjoy the patio out here in the evenings, we put this glass panel in here through the Feeney handrail system, and so that way she'll be able to enjoy this into the evenings.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about this Feeney handrail system, because to me it looks like it's going to have a good endurance, and it's transparent because you just have some cabling, so you can see the surrounding countryside. Can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
that
so
system?
again, John, I did a lot of value engineering and a lot of due diligence in finding the products that would suit and well for the Hefty home and create long-term durability. I'm not trying to build houses for the 30 years so that they can eventually, you can have a mortgage for 30 years and replace dry rot and go through those type of degradation problems that we all that we have to face when we're doing conventional construction. So what we did is I really searched for the longevity and the most durable products that we could incorporate into our Hefty home structures. And Feeney handrail system has been around for a long time. They basically are made with high quality American-made metal and powder coated with some stainless steel cables here, of course, so that her grandchildren and her can enjoy the time out here and be safe.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the poodle running through.
Yeah.
And tell us about the surface on the deck here.
Yeah, so the surface is elastomeric, and so what we did is this is a cantilevered, 12-foot cantilevered deck all out of SCIP. So there's two beams underneath here that are attached to the upper foundation wall, and they come through. They cantilever out approximately 12 feet, and then so there's two beams that support this 12-foot by 26-foot wide deck. And then, of course, the cement, like I mentioned earlier, it's all impervious. It's waterproof cement that we do. It's a proprietary mix that we've developed for our
Which
Hefty
is an issue. I mean, whenever I'm selling fourplexes especially, and they have those upstairs decks,
Yes.
those decks are always completely destroyed, and the underlayment is destroyed, and the termite work that's called is enough to choke a horse.
Yeah, yeah. So again, John, that's the main benefit of the SCIP panel and the Hefty home systems is that you don't have something that is going to degrade or rot in our lifetimes. This will be here for 150 years. It will probably be here for 4 generations and or longer. If the when maintenance comes up in 150 years, as long as they do stucco and keep up the stucco when it gets to that point, just like any homeowner doing maintenance, but instead of doing it every 5-10 years with repaints and stuccos on a conventional house, they'll have to be done every 50 to 100 years, something of that nature.
Very good. Well, I see the sliding glass door open to the master bedroom, so let's take a peek at that. So again, we have the same acid washed concrete floor here.
Yeah, so it's a sandstone finished floor, and so when we did this hand trowel finish. We gave it some undulations and textures to give it more of that naturalistic feel and look. And then the acid etching was basically done to create the impervious surface. So what we do is we open up the capillaries of the cement so that it's like pours on your skin. So we open up those capillaries so that way it can absorb the natural pigments. And then basically that gets sealed in there with the natural sealers.
Very good.
So in here we have the owner wanted to put in a walk-in tub, jacuzzi tub, and so this is a great unit. We've had it installed, and she's very excited to use this.
It's got jets all over the place.
Yeah, it has jets. It's a aromatherapy, and it's
I see that, the aromatherapy right here.
yeah, it's a pretty great system. So of course this is the Liberation is what they call it, and it's produced by American Standard is their top line.
American Standard, huh?
Yeah, they've been around for a couple of years. I think about 110 or something like that.
Now, if I can guesstimate here, this looks like a pretty standard opening for a good-sized shower.
That is correct. We originally designed the space for a tile shower of that nature, and then once we went through the conceptual design and design development, we started looking at the different options, and she really wanted to have something that was a lot more comfortable and that would provide her the the therapy. Of course, being a little older, she didn't want to have a hot tub on the deck that was out in that kind of an area. So this really fit the bill for what her needs were.
Let's take a look at that step up.
Yeah.
I always feel that you're taking your life in your hands when you step into a tub in a shower with the curved tub and the big step over.
Yeah.
This is a very minor little step over, and I don't think anybody is going to injure themselves getting in and out of this.
No, that's great. And then what we did here also, because of the we put these instead of these do look like just regular towel bars, but these are actually grab rails that we stuck in for the client also.
Oh.
So that way it's a dual purpose. So obviously for drying towels and use whenever you're getting in and out of it, but it'll be also a grab rail system for her to get in and out as she's enjoying her hot tub. The American Standard did a lot of improvements on these tubs over the years. This here does have it's a quick fill and a quick drain, so you don't have to sit there for long periods of time. I think it drains in half the time as a tub. It's a proprietary system that they've developed, so that way it fills quicker and it drains quicker.
Yes, I guess it's a good idea to drain it before you step out.
I think that's a personal preference.
Fortunately, you do have the concrete floor, so you can't do too much damage.
No, there's that's the good thing about this house is it's very impenetrable. There'll be no dry rot or any issues of that nature.
I see you did a little tuxedo paint job with what looks like dove gray with some kind of maybe a Navajo white or a regular white.
She went with I believe it's a polar white, and then the gray is another brand there. I forget exactly the name, but it's amazing because the light really affects these colors. When the light hits it perfectly, you think all the walls are white, and then of course when you get a little bit different of shades of color on it from the sun, then you really get the contrast between the two colors, which really highlights the
excellent
beautifulness of it.
And again, we have the vaulted ceiling. I noticed you have ceiling fans all over the place.
Yeah, so we have ceiling fans just to help with the cooling and with the heating of the structure. She intends to live here with her daughter, and of course, just like anyone's preferences, she likes it nice and cool, and her daughter likes it nice and warm, and so there's always that competing properties of the rooms.
Right.
So every room has a mini split system, which is you can control it individually. So of course the daughter can have, there's hydronic floor heating, and then of course the mini split system is a dual heating for either heat or for air conditioning in the summertime.
Remember I was talking to you about the Eichlers with the galvanized piping with the pinholes where they don't want to jackhammer the floor?
Yes.
Yeah, those are the units that they put in them as a retrofit.
Yeah, that's great.
What do you have? One unit in the each bedroom and one unit in the living room?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, and they're high efficiency. Mitsubishi puts them out. There is a non-ventilated system. A lot of times when you get into a ducted system, you lose a lot of heat and efficiency out of HVAC system, which HVAC is heating, ventilation, AC systems. So these are mini split systems where the heat pump is on the outside of the house and with line sets that run the hot and cold returns to these units.
Excellent. And then, thank goodness, we have the second bathroom over here, and it is a full bathroom.
Yeah, it's a full bathroom.
Oh, the light just miraculously came on. And then we have your more conventional tub, which is a prefab tub, so I am figuring without excessive seams, you're not going to have excessive leaking or maintenance.
No, it was a so because of her, of course, her preferences, the client's preferences is of taking baths and that kind of stuff. But obviously, sometimes the showers are great. Her daughter prefers having showers, and so what we did is we installed this three-piece shower enclosure with this fiberglass tub.
I think I'll take one more peek at that. Yeah, it's nice and spacious. And it looks like it's going to be relatively low maintenance. And I'm figuring you're probably going to put a shower curtain on here and not sliding doors.
The owner still hasn't made up their mind on that. So it's just a matter of what her preference would be.
Very good. So give us your opinion, since that is a controversial item. People sometimes take objection to the sliding doors for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, I think it's just a restriction, as you were mentioning earlier.
Getting in
is-
and out?
is ingress and egress out of the tub,
Yeah.
and so I think it creates a nice wide open area. Then you have this restriction of reducing it by 50%.
Well, I will throw my 2 cents in, and I like the way the hotels have gone to those crescent-shaped rods,
Yes, yes.
and they put the shower curtains on the crescent-shaped rods.
Yeah.
So you're not, bumping into the shower curtain when you're
Yeah, I
taking a
installed
shower.
one of those in my house, and I'm pretty happy with them also.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
very nice.
Very good. And let me just take a little look at the rest of the bath. And I notice, Mark, there is a vent in the bathroom. Is that an exhaust vent, I'm going to guess?
Yeah, so this is it's called an ERV. It's a ventilation system it's a hybrid ventilation system. The benefit of the Hefty home is that, we've gone to every level to make the air quality and to make the thermodynamics and to make non-combustible materials, really to provide an eco house. And so the benefit of that is, of course, we have fresh air returns. So we have one air exchanger, basically where we take the fresh air from the house, from outside. It comes through a heat exchanger. It takes that and puts it into the living room. And then what we have is we have ventilation in the bathroom, and every bedroom basically has these air intakes. And so what that does is it creates this continuous circulation and fresh ventilation.
I think I feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what's good about that is it can be adjusted. In the summer and winter time.
Yeah.
But the great thing about it is that you get pure fresh air all the time in every zone. There's no dead air spaces. If sometimes you get into conventional houses where there is just stagnant air in different areas.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me let me unpack all this, because first of all, we've got the hot water heat in the floor,
Hydronic floor heating.
the hydronic floor heating, which is not going to be dusty. Then we have the zone heating and air conditioning for additional customization.
Yeah, mini splits, and that's typically going to be used for air conditioning in the summertime.
Right. And then we have the continuous air filtration system.
That is correct. And so the benefit of the ERV, again, one of the other attributes to the ERV is when it's taking the fresh air in from outside, it's cooler air typically, or hotter air, and then the air going to the exchanger, the ventilation system. So there's a heat exchanger. So the temperature, when you're gaining the heat and the temperature from your air exchange. So compared to opening the window, you heat your house, you open the window, and you get this hot air going out, cold air. So what happens here is the air. If it's cold outside, you're taking cold air in. You're taking the hot air from your house. You're shooting the hot air out. There's a heat exchanger in there, so it creates this thermodynamic in there. So you can basically you reduce energy by keeping that.
Does that work cut both ways? You take hot air in, it cools it. You take cool air in, it heats it.
Correct. Yeah, either way, whether it's in the summertime or wintertime. So it just makes it so that you have fresh, good quality air, and it's very efficient and energy efficient.
What kind of a mechanism is processing that air?
They're just it's this unique system. We can see it in the.
Let's go take a look.
Yeah.
You have piqued my interest. You have piqued my interest, and we should look in the garage, because I think you probably have a bunch of interesting components in the garage.
Yeah, this is where the utility area and mechanical, the MEP, mechanical electrical plumbing systems are. And so here, let's start here, and then this here is the hydronic floor heating system. And so this also serves as the domestic hot water, and also serves as the hydronic floor valving system. Up here you can see the manifold for the hydronic floor systems, where there's the pump for the recirculation, filter controls, different valves for the zones, for the temperature zones that the client desires.
Is that about 150 gallons?
It's approximately 92-gallon Sanden water heater.
Sand and water heater?
Yeah, it's a Sanden.
Oh, sand and water heater, okay.
Yeah. And so, so then basically the heat pumps on the outside, of course, produce the energy.
Right. Okay. Wow, that's so interesting.
So up here is the PRV. So this ducting system, as you can see, the protrusions in the wall here, we have the exhaust and we have the intake. So the intakes, they come into this unit here, and this unit basically does the heat exchanger. So when it's cold outside and it's taking the cold air into the house, and it's taking the hot air from inside the house and putting it outside, it changes the heat and through the heat exchanger, and it creates that energy efficiency. So the same thing reversed when it's cool outside and warmer in the house, so you don't end up heating air that you're just using for circulation.
And there's a filtration system in there.
Yeah, there's 2 filters in the system. There's a pollen, dust and pollen filtration system, and then I believe there's a carbon filter in there also.
Oh, beautiful. And is this an all-electric house?
Yes, it is all electric house, and then of course the solar panels are basically, we're generating 15 to 20% more energy off of the house, so it's technically a carbon negative home. 4-hour fire safe carbon negative home, the first one of its kind. We have the solar panels up here. This is the battery backup system, so when the power is lost during the next power outages or rolling blackouts, we have an electronic transfer switch, and so battery backup. So the power will go out, the transfer switch will shut off, the battery backup will sustain all the power for the residency. Of course, the power comes back on, the transfer switch activates automatically, and then starts on AC from the power grid.
How long can you power the house with that unit?
I believe that the rating is somewhere between 3 to 5 days, depending on the usage of the client.
That should be enough.
Yeah, I would hope that that'd be enough. And like I say, of course, it depends on, in the power outages, if you turn on all the lights, you're going to lose battery capacity prior. But if you're efficient with it and conscious, then you should be able to have a longevity.
Okay, and then we have this Tego solar system. Is this a control panel?
Yeah, so that's the control panel for the solar panels, which are also mounted up on the roof, on our standing seam roof. And so that was all mounted and installed. The conduits come through here. It goes into here, and then this here is the dedicated AC panel. So this here is this is the electrical panel. So when the power goes out, that is the solar panel, and that basically is the dedicated electrical system. This here, of course, is just the electrical panel. That's the service panel for everything inside the residence.
Very good. Let us go back into the living room, since it just seems intuitive that being in the living room is better than being in the garage.
Yeah.
Plus, the lighting is good in here. So on the SCIP construction, which is really the main point on this, Mark, structural concrete insulated panels, as opposed to still, I guess, what is the predominant construction mode of wood frame with stucco exteriors. That's still pretty typical, right?
Yeah. For most people, basically, are still building conventional homes. Unfortunately, they're just not as durable. Obviously, everyone now the perception is, of course, everyone's aware that with the hazards that we have living in the wildland interface in Northern California and throughout the country, with all the different weather events that are happening. That conventional construction with stucco finishes. The thing about a conventional house, when you stick and stone house with stucco on it, you really only get a 1 hour burn rating on it. 1 inch of stucco is the equivalent of a 1 hour burn, and that is enough to meet the CBC, the California Building Code.
Yeah.
But as we all know, and we have seen year and year again, it's just not sufficient.
So if our viewers concede that structural concrete insulated panel construction with zero or negative carbon footprint is the way to go, in general, what is the delta between typical wood frame construction versus SCIP construction?
A lot of the differences really depend on the finishes, John. As far as the envelope's concerned, we can. It has a lot to do with the architecture. If you have a simple slab-on-grade shed roof, vaulted ceilings, those type of architectural elements, it can be 25% more. It could be comparable. The price of all conventional materials right now are skyrocketing, as we know. I mean, wood construction has gone up 15% in just the last 30 days, and that's not counting last year when it went up another 15 to 20%.
Right. So it could be par. It could be very similar to wood frame, or there could be a 25% premium depending.
Yeah, and it can go up, like I say, it depends on foundation systems on hillside construction. That's another that's another caveat with your construction. What's best is to come in and make a building pad and then do a slab on grade structure. Single story structures are more economical than 2-story structures, as we all know. And then basically, so the cost per square foot can vary dramatically.
So let's shoot the money ball here. Take a 2,000 square foot structure, and the annual cost to operate a typical wood frame house versus a zero carbon footprint or negative carbon footprint skip house. What would you say the delta might be?
Yeah, basically with her solar panels and everything, she's not going to be paying any, utility bills. Let's face it. When she's producing 15 to 20% more in the summertime, she'll be producing 20% more. In the wintertime, she'll be producing, 15% more energy than she's consuming for the house, for all of her electronic equipment, all the heating, ventilation. So the important thing with skip construction that I think most people, don't really realize, which a lot of people now during the fire rebuilds have unfortunately had to deal with, is when you rebuild in the fire zones that have been hit by the fires, and you get your conventional house built. To get the final, then of course comes the insurance company again, those great folks that basically helped people rebuild. And so unfortunately, the insurance is astronomically higher than because
So it's
because
utilities and insurance.
Yes, so it's a Type 4 construction. So Type 4 construction is conventional construction. It's a pre-engineered wood frame. That's what
Right.
stick and stone houses are. So Type 4 construction is combustible, as we know, and they have a 30-year lifespan. This Type 1 construction, concrete construction, has 150 to 200-year lifespans, and basically is a superior superstructure with energy efficiency along the way. So you don't only have lower utility bills or no utility bills along the way, your lifespan of your project. You also have a structure that is going to be here for multi-generations. And then you're not going to have to succumb to higher insurance premiums because, I was talking to a contractor that just finished a 2,600 square foot custom home here in the fire rebuild just a couple months ago. And their homeowners got their final and they talked to their insurance company. And their insurance premium was $30,000 a year for a 2,600 square foot conventional house.
So let's just say, to kind of give a little guide, between utility bills, insurance bills, and also ongoing accumulated deferred maintenance, could easily be a 5-figure delta between maintaining a typical wood frame house and a skip house. In other words, it'll cost you at least $10,000 more a year to operate a wood frame house than a skip house.
I would actually, let's back up a little bit, John. I think the math is just in your insurance. So if you take a conventional house with a 30-year lifespan and you take a 2,600 square foot custom house that's built and you charge $30,000 a year for insurance, in 10 years you have $300,000 worth of insurance premiums to cover that house.
Right.
In 30 years, when your mortgage is up, you've just consumed $900,000 worth of insurance payments. So how much equity do you really have left in your home after 30 years when it's time to rebuild it and dry rot?
Right.
You certainly don't have a large equity account to where you can put your kids through high school or through college or any other educational things that people use their houses for, those equity lines. So the benefit with the skip is that you're not only going to be able to leave it for multi-generations to your family, but you're not going to be having to pay higher premiums in the whole insurance game of basically conventional construction.
And utility bills.
The utility bills also as a bonus.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's conclude this video on talking a little bit about ADU. We've been talking mostly about skip construction, but this is actually an ADU where a big house was, with a footprint to build a big house someday if somebody wants to.
That's correct. So Hefty Homes, we're a design build firm. So what we've learned in 26 years of construction is that, we can work with architects, we work with lots of engineers, but really the best is to go through the design build delivery system. What that has proven for millennia has, Castles have been built that way for millennia. There's the Panama Canal. There's all these major infrastructure projects that have the design, build, delivery system. It's where you pick your team early and you basically move forward with the project. Compared to the design, bid, build system, which is more the AIA, the American Institute of Architecture, which is a relatively new delivery system. It's only been around for 100 years or so, and so this system of doing design build, you have a team, we collaborate, we do value engineering from the start. So it really shortens your time span of your construction project, and it keeps the owner in control, which is what I really like. I like to be able to provide the owner weekly updates or bi-weekly updates. They're the ones in the control of the design. They can adjust. They can increase their allowances for their projects. They can decrease them based on their different tile and different preferences that they have throughout their house. And so the ADU. Basically, what I did with the client here is, she had a very large home. She raised her four children. She doesn't have them around anymore. They're all raised children. And so she and I sat down. I really talked to her about what her life story was and about how and what we can do to find an appropriate and what's an appropriate program for her. So I developed this program where we would come in here, clean up the site, make the defendable space, install this accessory dwelling unit that would fit her needs and would last her for generations for her and her family, leaving the opportunity for the primary house residence to be constructed. We did the utility installation when we brought in all the utilities for this house, so we stubbed all those utilities out so there wouldn't be any backtracking when they go to install the primary residence.
How big is this lot right here?
Excuse me?
How big is the lot?
It's about 7 acres.
7 acres?
Yes.
Okay, so 7 acres, you've got the ADU on it at 640 square feet.
Yes, with an attached garage.
With an attached garage. And are there plans for a primary structure? Or if there aren't, what kind of a primary structure do you think could be put on here with SCIP?
My client, she doesn't really need that big of a structure. So she told me when we last discussed it, she said, that's something my children will have to figure out.
Okay. But in general, let's say that at some point in time, the owner wanted to sell the property. You're selling the property with an existing ADU.
Correct.
And at least one buildable pad.
Yes, in the county, it's as big as you want. You could stick a 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 square foot custom house here. There's no restrictions on the size here with the zoning.
Very good. So, Mark, please repeat the name of your company, your website, how people can contact you by email or by cell phone.
Yeah, so again, my name is Mark Anderson. I'm the president of Hefty Homes. You can find us at heftyhomes.org, or you can call 866 Hefty 06 is our 800 phone number, and we'd be more than happy to talk to you about building fire safe houses and developing a program that's appropriate for you and your family to have for you guys for many generations to come.
And there you go. For you guys that need visuals, heftyhomes.org, ccwinecaves.com. Very good. Oh, firesafeheftyhomes.org, ccwinecaves.com, and we cover all your interests. Excellent. Very good. Well, Mark, thank you for this very enlightening video, and thank you all for tuning in. And this is John Pinto, your roving realtor. If you're looking to buy, sell, or exchange any real estate in California, you can give me a call at 408-829-4141. Text works good too. Thank you so much. And Mark, any concluding remarks?
Thank you, John. I appreciate your time. I look forward to seeing you again.
You're welcome, and bye for now.